Bonfire! Bonfire!
Yo, DJ!
Are you done mixing yet?
Your DJ has only just begun.
Yep, good to go.
Hi, this is Lovely. You're listening to your nighttime, right time DJ Music on CRBJ's Classic R&B Jams Radio. Soulful sounds all around town.
Alrighty. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Your nighttime, right time DJ. Happy Sunday to everybody. Just a quick rant here. I was checking out my YouTube timeline and my messages, and I ran across this particular thing from CNN, reporter Jim Acosta. I wanted to share this with you folks this morning because, you know, a lot of times we sit here in the YouTube streets and we talk about each other and we neglect to see what's going on the world outside of us, outside of the black community. And a lot of times we sit here and we talk about the different policies that need to be in place and need to be constructed, and we argue amongst ourselves of the best way to do it. I guess basically what I'm about to say, sometimes folks, the arguments that we put on each other's plate, that's all they are. We don't do anything about them. Everybody has an idea of what we should or shouldn't be doing, but you can't do that if you neglect to look at the people that are in charge. Because from what I know about the United States, no one's going to just voluntarily put black people in charge of anything. And you can say what you want to about that. That's the history of this country. It is what it is. Look at the Senate as it is. But I guess the main thing about this rant is, folks, we're not paying attention. We're not paying attention to the outside world. We're not paying enough attention to white world. And why I say that is we're complaining about the racism and unfair this, unfair that. But if you look at it, the people that are in putting these policies in place to affect us in a in a negative way, they're the ones that are in charge. In this case in point, Jim Acosta was talking about this. I think she's in the House of Representatives or maybe in the Senate. Lauren Boebert. How do we allow for someone to represent this country as a whole with the rhetoric that she speaks on a constant tear with black and brown members of Congress? She's always throwing some racial slurs at these, especially as they call them the squad. You know, her and Marjorie Taylor Greene. How did these two white women end up in places of power? Marjorie Taylor Greene does not even have a committee assignment in Congress, but yet you see her in the news every day. She done spoke on, she done talked about the small hats people. She done talked about the alphabet community, but mostly she talks about the black community in slick, roundabout ways, and it just goes unpunished, untalked about, and I won't say undetected, because you see snippets of it. But then when you think, okay, well, they're going to finally kick her out of Congress, or this Lauren Boebert that Kevin McCarthy is supposed to be the leader, is finally going to sanction them to where they're going to run them up out of here and get them impeached. But no, these two ladies, along with Matt Gaetz and a few of the others, that's all they do, folks. Again, they always want to say it's Black Lives Matter that's dividing the country down the middle as far as racism is concerned. No, it's not. Look at the news. You'll see exactly who it is. They say, well, it's all Donald Trump's fault. No, Donald Trump just brought the head back up again. This country has always been like this. Didn't take 4 years for Marjorie Taylor Greene to become who she is. Didn't take 4 years for Matt Gaetz to become who he is. Didn't take 4 years for Lauren Boebert to become who she is. Or these other folks down here. You wonder why we expected Kyle Rittenhouse to be acquitted. You wonder why we were nervous during the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Is he going to get a fair trial? Even though was murdered, is his folks going to get a fair trial based on what we know about the South? We all as black people, well, those of us that paid attention, that wasn't on the YouTube streets arguing about who got the biggest amount of followers. A lot of us was watching this trial in earnest saying, oh, here we go again. Can't have no black pastors up off in here. Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. These are two elders. Wonder why the white folks was talking about them and not the younger brothers that's out there. Because maybe they don't find that the younger brothers are threats. We got to go back from cats from the 70s and the 80s for white America to bring up and say, oh, where the young brothers at? Where the young sisters at? And those that are in Congress, you have these Congress ladies knocking on each other's door. I know you're in there. Don't be scared. Don't be running like a little girl. And nothing happens to these folks. This Lauren Boebert says, I'm going on Congress and I'm carrying my pistol with me. Would you feel safe around someone like that? If you was doing your job, if you just doing your everyday 9-to-5 job and you know one of your co-workers was sitting there with a side piece, would you be comfortable working beside her? Would you be comfortable with some folks that flat out said that January 6th was a walk in the park? That nothing happened, even though what we saw with our own eyes. People getting beat with metal poles, bear sprayed, tased. Some even died on both sides. Remember that one lady? She thought she could climb through that window. Bah-yow! Not making light of it. But this is what folks want to think America isn't. But actually, this is what America is. Those folks that are talking all this racial, putting all these racial epithets out there in Congress, they are just the temperature, the thermometer of the temperature of the people, of the country itself, because it's the people that elect these folks that are in Congress. It's the people that elect the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Lauren Boeberts, the Matt Gaetzes. It's the people. So those folks in Congress that are throwing these hay balers and haymakers at these brown and black people in Congress, they're just a window into real America. People will tell you, oh, well, there's more diversement now. Look at the TV commercials. There's Japanese and white ladies. There's black and white men. Look at the commercials. We've come a long way since the 60s. I care to differ with you. We ain't really moved anywhere. For a lot of you that listen to me, I'm sure a lot of you folks are probably either 10, 20 years younger than me. If y'all think y'all got it rough, you should have been around in the 70s and the early 80s and the 60s. Ask some of them people that, because some of you young folks act like the folks that were born in the 60s and the 70s are dead, that you can't go back and physically talk to them. Well, I'm physical proof that you're wrong on that. Oh, the elders don't teach us nothing. All they tell us is what we're doing wrong. But then y'all want to call yourself grown men and women. We got to teach you everything. You're grown enough now to seek some of this information for yourself. We had to use books and encyclopedias and one touch and a couple of typed words. You folks can find all the information you want. Like this clip that I'm about to show you. Let's take a listen to this. Check it out.
You might be feeling all filled up after Thanksgiving, but unfortunately, we got an extra helping of turkey from Colorado Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who proudly displayed her ignorance and bigotry in comments about Minnesota Democrat Ilhan Omar.
I looked to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar. Oops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine. So we only had one floor to go.
Excuse me, folks. Did y'all hear that first remark? As somewhere along the line, she thought, not only did she thought that was funny, She's talking about an elected member of Congress, ladies and gentlemen. Our safe, she ain't got no backpack on. What's that referring to? That all folks of the Muslim faith are subject to want to blow up something or terrorists? Is that not how you take that? Is that not how the average person would take that? Hey, Mother Earth. Hey, Miss Sheila. How y'all living, ladies? Good Sundays to you. Isn't that how you would take it? But this is allowed to go on. This is at a fundraiser to keep her in Congress. When is it okay to say this about somebody? At once upon a time, this was called slander. Not anymore. This now is called, this is how we do business in Congress. This is exactly what we see every day. And we the black community, we just, I don't want to see this. Let me go and find my man Ramil talking about hoes is winning. Y'all looking at the wrong hoes winning. It ain't these hoes that y'all talking about on the YouTube streets that's winning. It's these hoes, the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts, that's winning. Because they control everything. They're the ones that sign that bill that get at all these people to say, hey, let's create this law about this. Let's create this law about that. Let's put more shit in the way. I'm sorry, folks, but truth is truth. This is what our nation is.
Like, do I say it or not? I looked over and I said, oh, look, the Jihad Squad decided to show up for work today. Don't worry, it's just her staffers on Twitter that talk for her. She's not tough in person.
We should note, Congresswoman Omar says Boebert is lying about that run, and Omar tweeted, this whole story is made up. And Boebert has since offered something of an apology to the Muslim community, but not to Omar. Again,
When someone comes out and said, no, what she just said is absolutely not true, isn't that slander? Shouldn't she be held liable? See what the problem is with white folks, with some white folks, I should say. They let, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I was in art stream the other day, and they was talking about music. And they were no, I'm sorry, it wasn't art stream. It was in Taz stream I was listening to, and he was talking about never trust a big butt and a smile. This is how this young lady is getting over. You see the tight dress that she's wearing. You see the tight jeans that she was wearing. And you see who she's parading herself in front of, them old blue heads, them old gray hairs that, like these little young women parading around. You see that? That's what they like. That's what they like now. So them the hoes that's winning. Them the hoes that's winning. Right there.
By the way, that wasn't the only hateful thing Boebert said in that speech. She also took a homophobic swipe at Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who is now the father of twins.
Uh-oh. She about to say something about the LGBT alphabet community, however they say that, because every month, every week, they put on a new letter there. But let's see how much the alphabet community jumps out and storm and raise hell and call for the head of Lauren Boebert like they did Dave Chappelle. Where you at, alphabet community? Somebody of high ranking power, much more high ranking than Dave Chappelle as a comedian, out there talking about one of y'all. Where you at? Where the protests? Where the picket signs? Where the calling with the off with her head? Just like Dave Chappelle said, if it's about black, it ain't your problem. But if it's about one of your community, all of a sudden, we got problems. Where you at now? Where you at when the white lady's talking about y'all? I'm just saying. I'm speaking real. That's what the name of this show is, Keep It Real. So I got to keep it real with you. Where you at, alphabet community? Let's see what she says about Mayor Pete.
He wasn't even put in charge of the supply chain crisis. No, someone else was tapped for that because Mayor Pete is still at home trying to figure out how to chest feed. Somebody ought to tell him so he can get back to work.
Mayor Pete is at home trying to figure out how to chest feed. Is that not a swipe at the two male parent household? Is that not a swipe at Mayor Pete and his husband and their adopted child? Where you at, LGBT community? Where you at? Got nothing to say about that, huh? I said, folks, I'm not going to keep you long here. I try to prove a point that some of the things we should be talking about in the news, we don't even pay attention to. This is an elected leader of one of our states. Somebody black lives in this state here, and this is your representative, whether you like it or not. Lauren Boebert is your representative. And let me say something while I'm talking about this. There was a point in time, you can go back to some of my streams when I was just coming into radio, and I had I would say a foul opinion of voting. I used to tell people, no, I'm not wasting my time. But then as I got a little bit more educated about it and saw that, wait a minute, what if there was 1 million black folks that thought like me? That's 1 million black people that's not voting. And that's how this lady here was able to jump into Congress. Maybe 1 million of us didn't vote. I'm just saying, something to think about.
In fact, Boebert has a troubling track record of making vile and incendiary comments. She tweeted, "Today is 1776" on January 6th, just hours before the violent insurrection at the Capitol. On the Biden administration's efforts to encourage vaccination, she tweeted that Biden had deployed his needle Nazis to Mesa County. And she's warned everybody in Washington that she plans on carrying her gun up on Capitol Hill.
All right, where all the folks that gets mad when they talk about the Holocaust survivors or mention anything about the Nazis? Where you folks at? See what I'm saying? See black folks, see what I'm saying? This is who is in charge of our nation. We can sit in our chat rooms all day long and talk about the policies that need to be instructed. And that's all we're doing is talking. But these folks right here, these are the ones that's running. Look here. You see this right here on the screen? I will carry my Glock into Congress. Let Tim Scott from South Carolina say something like that. Let AOC say something like that. Let Omar say that I'm going to carry my Glock into Congress. See how well that would go over.
I will carry my firearm in D.C. and in Congress. This caused outrage from Democrats and the media. Why?
And you can even find her at the border mocking the vice president with a cardboard cutout.
Now, Kamala, I want you to stand here and look at what you've done.
Uh-oh. Now, where the black woman at? Where the black ladies at? They called out one of y'all. Where they at? Where's the black conscious community? When this white woman was walking around with a cutout of I'll just say it, biracial, we couldn't call her black, convenience purposes. We'll say, walking around with a cutout of a black woman, and there's no outrage saying derogatory things about her. And there's no outrage from the black conscious political community. Not a drop. Because we're not paying attention to them. We're too focused on each other. Sometimes it's, dare I say this, is the blind chasing the blind, the dog chasing his tail. We jump in these echo chambers and we don't hear nothing else but each other. That's not going to change. That's not how you implement change. Somebody got to break the chain. Somebody got to break the cycle. If you don't, we'll keep complaining about stuff like this.
But she should look at what she's done. Boebert appears to believe that trolling, overt racism, and the glorification of political violence all come with the job here in Washington. Now, where would she get that idea?
They're always telling us how to run it, how to do this, how to do that. You know what? If they don't love it, tell them to leave it.
You see what I mean? Send her back. Send her back. You see how at any time anybody with charisma can be as dangerous as actually taking a gun into a live stadium. Look at how many people Donald Trump rallied up to say send her back. Send her back to where she was born here. When they say that about black people born in this country, send us back to where? Send us back to Africa. How many of y'all was born in Africa? What was your address? Me personally, I was born in Kentucky. I was born at the, no, I wasn't born at the fair. Actually, I was born on a Army base, Fort Knox, Kentucky. So send me back to where? If I don't like what you saying, send me back to where? Kentucky? It's funny how they'll say send the black people back, but they won't say send the Irish back. What are they going to say? They got a country. The immigrants. They won't say send the Canadians back. They got a country. But they'll quick to say send them back. Send them back. How many years they've been chanting that? Hundreds plus? The Back to Africa movement. Remember, that was the biggest joke back in the 70s and the 80s. Even Richard Pryor made that joke famous. The Back to Africa movement. And working for the BIM company. Be your ass in Mississippi Monday. Have your black ass ready to pick cotton on Tuesday. For those of you remember those, they used to write out a bunch of letters and tell a little story behind it. And you think as a black man you were getting a good job. And actually you were just applying for a cotton picking job in Mississippi. That was a running joke. That people used to actually sit in school and write out letter at a time. Okay, I'm working for this company. But that was the running joke. Now they out there talking about the vice president of the United States of America, and black people ain't held up a hand yet. We too busy trying to worry about what she did as a prosecutor years back. I don't like that heifer because she locked somebody up. Well, nigga, if you broke the law, you're supposed to get locked up. Y'all know that. That comes with the territory. If you're going to be a drug dealer, you know two things come with that. Death and jail. If you're going to go out and rob cars, you know something might come with that. Death or jail. You can't blame Kamala Harris because you went out and decided to steal and rob something. I'm sure there might have been some innocent folks that was tossed in there because we know about that. But for the most part, most of you niggas in jail should be there. You did something wrong. I'm just saying. But where you at, black folks? They're attacking one of us.
Remember that? Yes, welcome to the Trump Republican Party Freak Show Caucus, home of Paul Gosar, who was recently censured for posting a violent photoshopped anime showing him attacking prominent Democrats. And of course, there's Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been stripped of her committee assignments, in part because of her past racist and anti-Semitic comments. The Freak Show Caucus knows the party's current leader in the House, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, is not going to stand in their way. McCarthy has gone from blame.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, once folks said that the Jewish people had lasers from laser beams on satellites beamed down to burn up to set the Southern California coast on fire. That was the Jewish people's fault. And this, who you folks have elected to Congress, because she didn't start talking like this. This is the same lady that said that these children that got killed in that school in Sandy Hook, it was a farce. But there's still some folks that elected her to Congress. These are the people that are making the laws, folks. When's the last time Kevin Samuels wrote up a bill and passed it on to Congress? We got more people watching the Kevin Samuels video than we got watching the Ahmaud Arbery trial last week. Kevin Samuels' videos topped over 1 million views in one day. Go back and look at some of the child coverage. See if they stand up to it. We like watching drama. We would love to watch it unfold amongst us and then sit back and talk about it. But we don't talk about this drama going up on Capitol Hill. That young white blonde can go around and say what she want to say, do what she want to do, how she want to do it, and you got this old head right here not doing anything about it. You got a member of Congress that could possibly be convicted of transporting minors across state lines for sex purposes. But he's still running around. I'm just saying. We ain't screaming about that.
Naming Trump for January 6th.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding. These facts require immediate action by President Trump.
To complaining that Trump should have been awarded a Nobel Peace Prize.
Jimmy Carter and Barack Obama. Not Ronald Reagan and not Donald Trump after Abraham Accords.
And even though McCarthy has said that Green and Gosar will be serving on committees if Republicans take control of the House in next year's elections.
Yeah.
Understand this, folks. 2022 is right around the corner. And what he's saying to you, what this reporter just said is, if the Republicans take back over the House, these same folks that are running around talking about making memes to assassinate members of Congress, that are running around saying that Jewish people have lasers, that members of Congress are not walking around with backpacks on their back blowing shit up, will have more power in Congress come 2022. This is the stuff that we as black folks can't allow, because they keep telling us our vote don't matter. If your vote didn't matter, black people, why they come to our neighborhood so much when it's voting season if it didn't matter? Why they try to redraw the lines in the voting districts? Why did they put so many restrictions up in front of us if our vote didn't count? Those were the questions I had to ask my damn self. What's wrong with you, music? You know, you sit here on these streets sometimes and maybe you say something that you heard something or you thought about something and you went back, and I'm glad you corrected yourself, because that was pretty stupid at one time for you to say that you don't vote. You got to vote. Makes a difference. Does make a difference, folks. I hate to say it. Not only for the main votes, but especially in your local area, the school boards, the different, what do they call those things? The sheriff and all this. All that makes a difference, because all those people affect you. It starts there, goes up, state level, local level, state level, federal level. And some of these folks live in your neighborhoods. You see them every day. You have access to them. I did a show yesterday, a fashion show, to where a lot of the members of the place where I live were in attendance. Connections. They were making connections yesterday. Black folks doing for themselves. The young people that were there yesterday. They weren't in the streets. They was talking about voting. They was talking about being in church. Great minds think alike. Small minds talk about other people. And a lot of what we have here on the YouTube streets as far as these black content creators are small minds. Because that's all we do is sit around and talk about each other. And shit like this is going on. When this guy, he's shooting for the Speaker of the House next year. If he's Speaker of the House, imagine what else is going to happen. Because this guy here now believes that January 6th didn't happen. That Donald Trump should have been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Trump? The fuck?
Have committees that The committee assignment they have now, they may have other committee assignments. They may have better committee assignments.
Green still openly questions whether he will become House Speaker.
We know that Kevin McCarthy has a problem in our conference. He doesn't have the full support to be Speaker. Right now, from the people I've talked to, he doesn't have the votes right now.
Hey, Shaw, how you doing? Good to see you. And listen, this is a member of this Marjorie Taylor Greene. Kevin McCarthy is supposed to be the leader of the party, and you hear her saying, along with this wannabe Ward Cleaver right here, Matt Gaetz, saying that he don't have the. Isn't this a coup from within? You too, Brutus. Isn't that how they killed most great kings? I was not saying that Kevin McCarthy is a great king, but isn't that how they get some of them leaders? They assassinate them from within. Beware the Ides of March. If I was Kevin McCarthy, these two would be the last folks that I would think about putting on an assignment. When you openly telling me I don't have the confidence of my party, get the hell out of here. Where do they do this at, folks? Why are these two folks here so brazen?
I think that there's a door open for a challenger.
Green, who appears to be on her way to becoming chair of a committee in a new GOP House, has tweeted about Boebert's remarks, saying, quote, "Never apologize to Islamic terrorist sympathizers. Ilhan Omar and the Jihad Squad are all three and are undeserving of an apology."
Again, this is a member of Congress now. Never apologize. No retreat, no surrender. If you gonna say that someone is a jihad terrorist, don't apologize for it. But yet, when she said something about the small hats, she got on TV, made a half-hearted apology, and that was the end of it. Here we are again. No outrage from the alphabet community. No outrage from the black community. No outrage from the evangelicals. No outrage from the small hats. And you wonder why. Her, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, and that other cat. You wonder why they get away with this. No challenging. Nobody's challenging. Nobody's holding them to the fire. Nobody's holding them, dare I use this word, accountable. Because I hear that thrown around a lot in the YouTube streets. These hoes is winning because niggas is not holding these hoes accountable. Well, let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. These white folks is winning in Congress because we're not holding them accountable.
The lesson learned for Green and the rest of the Freak Show caucus? Appeasement is always interpreted as weakness. In the Freak Show caucus, Loyal met with the recently acquitted Kyle Rittenhouse, the man who shot and killed 2 people in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Now, how did they turn this? Just because he's acquitted, that does not still take away from the fact that he killed 2 people and severely injured another. How does he gain national spotlight? Because he was the poster boy for what's already here in this country. The right to. White supremacists. They believe they have a right to. And we'll protect our own. Because if you go back, I guarantee you, where they made the mistakes of the other kid, and I hate to bring up his name, the kid that killed these 9 folks in the Charleston church, where when they went to his Facebook post, they could follow exactly who was training him, what he was doing, where he got his radicalization from. They couldn't do that with Kyle Rittenhouse because according to his Facebook post, his Instagram post, he was just an all-American kid. Just a 17-year-old kid out trying to help protect this community. They went and cleaned him up. We sometimes, as black folks, we still looking for the hood and the white sheet. These folks is wearing suits now, folks. Look at that. There's 2 of them right there. Of all the American heroes they could have stood behind and had a picture behind, they chose a Chinese dictator to pose in front of. Come on now. They say that the Muslim young men and women are easy to be radicalized. I better talk about these 18, 19-year-old white kids. They're the ones that's being radicalized. By who? Marjorie Taylor Greenes, Lauren Bowards. Never trust a big butt and a smile. Guarantee you, if you go to any one of their rallies, part of their lore is the feminine mystique, the feminine body. Say what you want to. You go over to Fox News and look at all the high thigh leg crossing going on over there. Am I wrong? But we in black community, we'll sit here and talk about the Cardi B's. And actually it's the very same thing going on over there, except for they call it just a little bit more classy. There's still ass and titties over there. But we'll sit in our streams and we'll talk about, again, the Cardi B's and the so-and-so this and the so-and-so's that and the pump and dump dudes. And the hoes is winning. You damn right the hoes is winning. If you sitting over there complaining about them all day, ain't no hoes winning around me, because I ain't got no hoes around me. I deal with black women. I don't deal with hoes. I talk to black women that understand that when I'm talking about this, it's like, you know what? He right. Conversation, education, articulation. Those are the signs of black women. Those are the signs of black men. Or am I being a little bit too precocious about that? All our streams supposed to be shit shows. Meanwhile, shit shows are on Fox News every day. Shit shows are on CNN every day, because this is exactly what we hear in black streams. This is exactly what we hear on these news clips. Niggas ain't shit.
The picture of Kim Jong-un behind them was a nice touch. Green wants to award Rittenhouse the Congressional Gold Medal. Members of the Freak Show caucus have been fighting over one another over who will have Rittenhouse as a congressional intern.
And, Madison Cawthorn, he said that he would arm wrestle me for this Kyle Rittenhouse internship.
Did y'all hear that? He said he would arm wrestle me for a Kyle Rittenhouse internship. Remember, I said a long time ago, I'm going to back up a little bit. I said there was a guy called Josh Hawley that no one was paying attention to. If you go back and look at Josh Hawley and then compare the young Kyle Rittenhouse, that's who they're modeling him after. You got to be able to speak. You got to be able to address people. You got to sit up with the suit and tie on, because if they see you with the hat pulled back and the military style t-shirt on with the gun slinked over your shoulder, they can label you as a white supremacist. But dressed up like this, they can only label you as right-wing, left-wing, conservative, or whatever. Them folks are slick. What's up, sir? Oh, how you doing, good brother? Them folks are slick out here, folks. And if you're not paying attention, this is what's happening right up under our noses. Again, I don't shout out too many the streams from time to time, but again, the stream called Taz Exclusive, whether you agree or disagree with him, he does put out a pretty good stream sometime about, do you know what's going on around you? But I notice when he does a stream like that, it's never high numbers. But if he's in one of them so-called drill sessions, they come in, hey Emma, how you doing? Appreciate you looking in. I'll check it out over there on, sent me something on, okay. But again, we'll go to those streams. But, I'm just saying, I call it, hit dog will holler. Get mad at me if you want to. I gotta call it like I see it. I got nothing but time on my hands the next couple of weeks, folks. I got to rehab. And I'm sitting on these YouTube streets, watching these streams, watching these news clips. Not too many of us is talking about this. But you best believe in them white channels they are, because I'm watching them too. Watch some of those hunting videos and listen to some of the conversation. Watch some of those fishing videos when they're out there in the boat and listen to the conversation that these good old boys be having with each other. And then you know that the Lauren Boeberts, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, they're just the thermometer stuck to take the temperature of what this country really is. Racism ain't dead, folks. It's just wintertime. It's just dormant. Springtime is coming back. It'll be green again. They just fertilizing it now. 2022 is right around the corner. Watch and see what I'm saying.
Yep. But Madison Cawthorn has some pretty big guns, and so I would like to challenge him to a sprint instead.
Now, I know what you're saying. She's not the brightest bulb on the Capitol Christmas tree. Also, an internship? Really? It sounds like he's on his way to speakership. Would Kevin McCarthy object to that? I have my doubts. As we are all gathering with family and friends for the holidays, ask yourselves, is this who we are? Bigoted, hateful, violent? I don't think so. Sadly, I'd say we are complacent and enabling more than anything else. Too many of us are standing.
Well, there, Mr. Jim Acosta, you may not think so, but you bet not put 10 brothers in the room or 10 sisters in the room and ask them that question. Because I guarantee you, all 10 of us, matter of fact, I would venture to say if you put 100 black folks in the room, there might be one yassa boss in there and say, no, we ain't like this. Is we sick boss? But the rest of us gonna say, yep, this is what America, this is America. Don't let it catch you slipping. Childish Gambino, by the way. You notice how even in the news, even in CNN, Ari Melber, he's one of the small hat community guys, no disrespect, but he's a Jewish guy. But notice how even in his news clips, he infuses our culture, our music. He uses rap and rap artists to present the news. Taking a page out of not taking a page out of our own book, coming over to our neighborhood, adding something to his repertoire to attract the best of us to his shows, or to attract us young folks. And when y'all get there, you're not prepared for the interview. A lot of uhs and does, and you know what I'm saying. But you don't see the Kyle Rittenhousers talking like that. Sorry to say it, folks. They teach their little hellions to articulate themselves. Not sit in the stream and holler out, yeah, excuse my language, because I don't know why I said excuse my language. I done cursed enough in this stream, but not sit around and call each other bitches hoes. Man, them hoes ain't loyal. These bitches ain't loyal. These hoes is winning. Sadly, a lot of us that talk about each other will never meet each other in life. Never. But you got a YouTube feud as big as all outdoors, like the Hatfields and the McCoys of the YouTube streams. Meanwhile, you got guys like this on CNN asking, is this what America is? Sure is. If you ask me, nothing changed. Even a bully gets soft from time to time. Even a bully don't come out of his house every day beating somebody up, but he's still a bully. Still pick on folks for no reason. Is America full of racism? Sure is. By any stretch of the imagination that anyone says that it's not, you're fooling yourself. Is there discrimination in housing? Sure is. Discrimination in the banking system? Sure is. Is there discrimination in the Congress? It sure is. Why? Not because we as black people are not smart or because we can't articulate ourselves. Nope. I would say some folks will come in here and listen to the stream and say, well, black folks should pull themselves up by the bootstraps. What bootstraps? If you ask some black folks, what bootstraps you talking about? Where should I begin to pull myself up at? What I don't even have. And we'll sit in these streams and talking about the policies. We got to change the policies. One minute we talking about policies, and the next thing we talking about pot bellies. That's where the change goes at. And nigga, what did you just say to me? I know damn well you're not correcting me. You don't know what the hell you talking about. So, Jim Acosta, is this America? It sure is, in full bloom.
On the sidelines, sticking our heads in the sand and biting our tongues in the hopes that the freak show somehow will go away. Sounds like appeasement. How did that work out over the last 4 years? Or the last century, for that matter?
Right. How'd that work out for you folks? The last century. Matter of fact, the last 2 centuries. How'd that work for you? Didn't work too well. I don't think so anyway. Well, folks, like I said, I'm not going to hold you too much longer. I just want to do a quick rant on that. And, you know, maybe if I just reach one and teach one, that's good. If only one person listens to this stream today and get an idea of going over and looking at the other side, because you can't beat the enemy if you don't know what they're doing. You can't be a part of social change if you only construct yourself around people just like you. You got to get out. You got to get outside. Or we'll just be sitting in our streams week after week, night after night, talking about us, being small-minded, instead of being great, like my man Dre says. Appreciate it, folks. Y'all have a great Sunday. Last thing, on the air, if you like listening to a little bit of music tonight, if you'll look down in the description over there, there's a link to our chat room. Interactive. You can come on in, drop a few memes, listen to some good music, and I do take some requests, but only drawback to that is if I'm not able to download it, if I have it, we'll play it. If not, I'll make sure I get it on for you next week. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so very much. Be safe out here on Sunday, and don't take no damn wood nickels, because you can't spend them nowhere. Have a good one.
More fire! More fire!
Yo, DJ!
Are you done mixing yet?
Your DJ has only just begun.
Yep, good to go.
Hi, this is Lovely. You're listening to your nighttime right time DJ, DJ Music, on CRBJ's Classic R&B Jams Radio. Soulful sounds all around town.